Hey, what's up guys, it's Krypt, and we're finally back with a video, and yes, it's that time of year again. We're finally into the playoffs, regular season's over in the NHL, and here we are, we sit ready for the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. So, I decided to bring my predictions. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be bringing you predictions, you know, all over the internet, all over YouTube, all over TV, so I figured, might as well get my opinion out there. Let's see how I think things are going to go. For the gameplay, you know, I just put all the teams in a little playoff tournament in NHL. I made sure the lines are all pretty similar to how they would be in real life. You know, like I didn't put in guys like Jason Spezza, stuff like that, but I did add in Carlson for those kinds of teams, and similar things for each team. So yeah, all the lines and rosters are pretty much how they would be in real life. And then I went ahead and I already did the simulation for the first round. So we'll see who EA picks to advance. As far as their game goes, and then I'll go through each pick and give you the reasons why I think the team I want to will advance. So without further ado, let's go right into the EA Sports simulation and look at the playoff tree here. Yeah, so there you go. So we're gonna start right from the top left and go all the way to the bottom right. Alright, we got the Chicago Blackhawks and Minnesota Wild. So EA Sports, I guess for EA Sports, the Chicago Blackhawks won in 7 games against Minnesota. You know, that's actually not a bad prediction. But for my prediction, I would see the Blackhawks winning in 6 games. It's really hard for me not to go with Minnesota just because of Zach Parise and what I know he can do in the playoffs. What he did last year in the playoffs. I mean, he's a stud. And I don't usually like picking the President's Choice team because it's so often that they get out in the first round. I think it's happened like the last 3 out of 4 years or something like that. But you know, this year, I mean, it's really hard not to pick Chicago, at least in the first round. I think after that, everything will like level out. But for right now, in the first round, I think I have to pick Chicago. They're rolling. So my prediction would be Chicago in 4 games in the first round over Minnesota, who will keep things close. Moving on, alright, we got the Anaheim Ducks and the Detroit Red Wings. Yes, Detroit finally making the playoffs, or clinching the playoff spot, I should say. Obviously, they haven't made the playoffs before, but yeah, on the last day of the season, they clinched the playoffs. And yes, they got the 7th seed, and they're facing the Anaheim Ducks. Ooh, and it looks like EA Sports has Anaheim winning 4-2. Man, honestly, this might have been the hardest choice for me. I think I ended up picking Anaheim in like 5 or 6 games, something like that. Sorry, no. I picked Detroit in like 6 games against Anaheim. And yes, that was very hard to do. I think that the fact that Detroit just slipped in, that we shouldn't underestimate them. I mean, Datsuk Zetterberg. It's gonna be a series of the top lines in my opinion. I mean, both teams are really lacking in depth this year. I mean, they got the top couple lines, and then, you know, it might come down to who's like 3rd or 4th line can score the goals, but in my opinion, I mean, Mike Babcock is the better coach, even though Bruce Boudreau's done a hell of a job, and he's a great coach in the regular season. We'll just have to see what the Ducks can do in the playoffs. I'm a big fan of the Ducks. I love Getzlaf and Perry. Those are 2 of my favorite players ever since they came into the league, pretty much. But yeah, for me, I'm gonna say Detroit advances in 6 games. Alright, Vancouver, San Jose. This is another interesting one. I mean, obviously, I'd say everyone thinks that the Vancouver Canucks would be favored. And yes, in the EA Sports simulation, they won 4-3 over the Sharks. But, you know what? For my pick, I had to pick San Jose in 6 games. Simply because, I mean, San Jose, man, they need to pull their big boy pants up. So many expectations over the last couple years. Not so much this year, but the last like 3-4 years. I mean, they had one of the best teams in the NHL every single year, and everyone picked them to go far. And you know, it's always you know, 1st round exits, 2nd round exits. I mean, San Jose, they need to play like they want it. I mean, there's not really as many expectations on them this year, which is why I think this could be the year they go, you know, maybe to the conference finals again, or at least into the 2nd round. And as for the goalie matchup, I really think San Jose has the advantage there. I mean, you never know what the goalies in Vancouver, what they're going to do. You know, if Schneider has 1 bad game, are they going to put it, or sorry, maybe 2 bad games, are they going to put in Lou? Or are they just going to stick with him? Are they going to start Lou since Schneider's injured? I mean, in my opinion, Antoniemi has been having, you know, a Vezina quality season. and, you know, Thornton, Couture, Marlowe, guys like that. I think that's enough for them to get at least out of the first round. So I'm going to pick the Sharks in 6. And moving on, we got St. Louis and LA. Oh, and by the way, San Jose won the season series 3-0 against Vancouver. Not that that really matters in the playoffs, but it's just a stat that jumped out at me. I'm like, the Canucks haven't beaten San Jose all year long. That's obviously going to change in the playoffs, but still going to go with San Jose on that one. Alright, so we got the St. Louis Blues and LA Kings, the 4-5 matchup. It's usually one of the most interesting ones, since the teams are usually so evenly matched, so to say. But yeah, I'm pretty sure LA won the season series, and this is a rematch, actually, of last year's second round. So yeah, one of these teams is not going to make it out of the first round this year. Either way, going to be a very big disappointment for either team. But yeah, it looks like LA won in 7 games in the EA Sports thing. I'm going to say LA in 6 in the NHL playoffs. Simply because I know Jonathan Quick hasn't had the season he's had last year, but it's still Jonathan Quick. I'm going to go with him over what looks to be, in St. Louis, Brian Elliott, because I'm not sure if Yaroslav Halak is 100%, and even if he was, I think I'd still pick the Kings because of their forwards. I think St. Louis did a great job picking up Jay Bouwmeester for pretty much no roster players. Add in rookies like Tarasenko, guys like that, and you know, St. Louis is a very dangerous team. I could really see this one going either way, with either team winning in 6 games. Could even go to the 7th game, but I think I have to go with LA on this one and say the LA Kings will win in 6 games. The repeat champions. I just don't see them going out in the first round. And like I said, I really think the second round this year is where this playoffs will get really interesting. Alright, so that's it for the first round of the West. Let's move on over to the East side. And here we go. We got the Pittsburgh Penguins and New York Islanders. EA Sports has the Penguins winning 4-1. No surprise there, really. I mean, what a great story it's been for John Tavares and the Islanders. Definitely should be considered as one of the candidates for the MVP, the Hart Trophy, John Tavares. But, man, talk about bad luck. I mean, they were so close to facing facing Montreal. They were in 7th spot for such a long time now, but you know what? They got Pittsburgh, and they're going to have to do it. Obviously, Pittsburgh's the favorite. Even if Crosby doesn't come back for the first couple games, I can still think we can agree that Pittsburgh will be the favorite. Yeah, they won the season series 4-1, so the Islanders did actually win a game, but I can see them winning a game, you know, pulling one out. I really think Nabokov's going to have to steal every single game that the Islanders win, and I'm pretty sure he can steal 1 game from the Penguins. So, I think I'm going to agree with EA Sports for once. Well, you know, not for once. But say that the Penguins will beat the Islanders in 5 games. Montreal and Ottawa. This is going to be a good series. I mean, clearly, I think Montreal is going to be the favorite. And look at that, EA Sports even has Ottawa winning in 5 games. That's intense. Even though these aren't 2 of my most favorite teams in the entire world, I think this could be like the series to watch in the playoffs. In the East, at least. I mean, Montreal and Ottawa, 2 teams who are going to skate, who are going to play hockey. They're not really physical at all, both teams. But they can be if they really have to be. 2 really skill-based teams, hard-working teams, especially in Ottawa's case, and I really think the X factor is going to be Erik Karlsson. I mean, Montreal lost Emelin on their blue line, and they haven't been looking so great the last couple games, you know, the last 2 weeks or so, but they do have Price, but on the other hand, Ottawa has Anderson, so I actually picked Ottawa to go on in 7 games. I think this could be a long 7 games, good series, fun to watch, no matter if you like the teams or not. My pick's going to be Ottawa, though, in 7 games. I think Erik Karlsson's going to break out. He had a great first round last year. They lost in 7 games last year. I mean, even though they don't have Spezza this time, something just deep down tells me that the Ottawa Senators can pull this off and advance into the 2nd round. Alright, Washington and New York Rangers. Man, it seems like these 2 teams face each other every single year. They definitely did last year. I'm pretty sure they did the year before. Can't remember. But yeah, this time Washington gets home ice advantage. New York Rangers in the 6th seed. EA has the Rangers winning in 7 games. But you know what? When I picked these last night, I went with the Capitals. I just really see Ovechkin. honestly, guys, one of these days, Ovechkin is just going to go off in the playoffs. You know he can. He has those spurts where he can just take over games one by one. If he can take over 3 of these games, or even 2 of these games, I think the rest of Washington can come together, win the other 2. And I really think Ovi's going to have a big series. This is my bold prediction. This is another hard one to call, but I'm going to say the Capitals win in 6 games. I think Holtby can have another good run, like he did last year against the Bruins. Obviously, Rangers are probably considered the favorites, even though they are the lower seed. I mean, they got guys like Lundqvist, and then Rick Nash is another X factor. He could go off. I mean, we haven't seen Rick Nash on a good playoff team in so many years. I mean, the closest thing you can compare it to is him at the World Championships or at the Olympics, where he just, you know, goes nuts. So, yes, Rick Nash definitely could be a factor. But for me, you know, for whatever reason, for Ovechkin, for Holtby, for Mike Green, I picked the Capitals to go on in 6 games. It should be a fun one. Alright, and man, it sucks for the Leafs. So much potential this season. They finally make the playoffs, and look who they have to face. Their arch nemesis, the Boston Bruins. Oh my goodness. Bruins tanking their last 2 games just so they can face the Leafs. Nah, just kidding, just kidding. Obviously, they didn't do that. But yeah, I mean, I think Boston will be very happy to face the Leafs this time. But you know what? I'm gonna go way off the board here and say that the Leafs are gonna upset the Boston Bruins. And look at that! For some reason, EA Sports thinks the same thing. They think the Leafs are gonna win in 6. You know what? I'm gonna agree with them. I'm gonna say the Leafs in 6 games. Yeah, it might just be because I'm a Leaf fan, and this may be the pick that, you know, I don't take as serious as the rest of them. But you know what? I'm gonna say the Leafs in 6 games. Let's look at the season series here. Bruins obviously won 3-1, and going back to last season, they won 6-0. They were 6-0 last season. But you know what? The Leafs did lose 2 of those games this year in a shootout or overtime. So, I don't know. I think obviously there's the intimidation factor. I think all the Leafs are at least mentally intimidated by the Bruins. I've heard that on TV somewhere. So, and that seems kind of true. But if there's one Maple Leaf that will not be intimidated and cannot be intimidated by these big bad Bruins, it is Randy Carlyle. Yes, the head coach. We've never had a head coach like this in recent memory. And man, he's going to whip these guys into shape. He's going to make sure that they don't take any play for granted. You know, stop sitting back so much against the Bruins. Play your game. Just going to make sure the Leafs play their game. And yes, Phil Kessel also has to be huge. I mean, the Leafs are not going to do anything if Phil Kessel can't score at least almost a point per game. Chip in with a couple assists here and there. And the biggest thing that's going to happen is James Reimer needs to play the way James Reimer has played when he was playing the best hockey of his career. I mean, he's had an amazing record this season, but he's slipped the last couple weeks, or last couple games, I should say. But yeah, Reimer, Kessel, Randy Carlyle all need to step up. And for whatever reason, I mean, the Bruins haven't struggled of late. Tuukka Rask has been amazing this season. But at the same time, he's no Tim Thomas. So, all those reasons and more is probably why I think the Leafs are going to advance in 6 games against the Bruins. Call me a homer on that one. But, yeah, so those are my picks, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about all the picks, not just the Leafs one. Yeah, so I'll probably do another video when the second round starts. But guys, just enjoy the hockey for right now. It doesn't really matter who I pick or who anyone else picks on TV or YouTube or TSN, whatever. As long as your team's in the playoffs, and even if they're not, find a team, pick a team, and cheer for them. Because the first round is gonna be so great, so much hockey to be played over the next 2 weeks or so. And yeah, it's coming down after the first round, second round, third round. I mean, after that, there's barely gonna be any hockey for like a couple months. So brace yourselves. Spring is coming. The playoffs are coming. Grow those playoff beards and enjoy. Take it easy, guys. Peace.